Before I begin coding, I'm going to answer this question. I really still know about only two view groups, linear layouts and relative layouts. And the key word right here was that these two have to take up equal space. Using layout weight is a really easy way to do this. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the code. Alright, I'm not working in Java anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and go over to activity main XML. And here's my XML file. So I'm going to start by putting all of this code to another linear layout. And this is the parent linear layout for my two mini linear layouts. And I'm going to move these two lines up here because they need to be attached to the root view. Add a closing brace. Okay, Android Studio automatically made a closing tag for me right here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this closing tag, scroll down to the bottom, and paste it. Okay, now I got a red squiggly line, and if I look at the error, I can see that it says I need to have layout height and layout width defined. Whoops, alright, let's do that. So because this is the root view, I'll go ahead and make this match parent. Okay, so I have one linear layout surrounding a child linear layout right now. And if I go to the preview, it looks pretty much the same. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy everything in the Team A linear layout, and right below Team A, I'm going to paste it, and this is going to be my Team B linear layout. So, now things are beginning to look a little bit disorganized, so I'm going to do a Command A, or select all, and then I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut Command Option L to format my code. On Windows, that's Control Alt L. That looks a little bit better. Now, I just want to make sure that you understand what's going on here. Scrolling to the top, I have a root linear layout here. It starts here, and if I scroll all the way to the bottom, it ends here. Inside of that root linear layout, I'm going to scroll up again. I've got one child layout here, which starts here. I'll scroll down slowly. And it ends here. This is for Team A. And I have another child linear layout, which starts here. I'll scroll down slowly. Ends here for Team B. All right, now I notice some red up at the top, so I'm going to scroll up again and see what the error says. Wrong orientation, no orientation specified, and default is horizontal, yet this layout has multiple children, where at least one has width match parent. Well, I do want it to be horizontal, but let's go ahead and specify the orientation. Again, this is not technically needed because the default is horizontal, but it's good to be explicit. Okay, and I was saying something about children covering each other up. I'm going to click on preview. And this doesn't seem to have really changed very much, even though I went to all the trouble of copying and pasting another linear layout. This might have had to do with the error that I just looked at. It was saying that it's a horizontal layout, so it's trying to lay these two linear layouts next to each other, but that the linear layout has a layout width of match parent, which fills up the screen. So basically, my first linear layout is filling up the screen, and then the other linear layout is getting placed next to it somewhere off screen. All right, so let's think about what we actually want to have happen at this point. We want to have the two layouts taking up equal space and next to each other. So this is what we're going to need to bring in layout weights. I'm going to take the first linear layout and give it a layout weight of 1. I'm also going to set its width to 0. Okay, so we can see already that we do in fact have two linear layouts. They're just not really being displayed properly. But this is a bit better. So I have to put a layout weight also on my second linear layout, this one right here. So I'm going to scroll down. Here's my second linear layout. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to say that it has a layout weight of 1 as well. So now they have equivalent layout weights. And then I'm going to set the width to 0. Okay, and the reason that I set the width of both of them to 0 is basically that if both of these sides aren't taking up any width, then it's going to take all the extra space, which is the entire screen, and divide it up, giving half to one and half to the other, because they both have the same layout weight. If that's at all confusing, I've linked to a few videos in the instructor notes that talk about layout weight. Okay, but this is looking pretty good, except it says Team A. I'm going to scroll down to change that. Here. Change this to Team B. Now, you might have noticed that there's also an error here. And that error occurs because, well, we have a duplicate ID. Remember, I just copied and pasted the code. So we basically have two things that are trying to have the same ID of Team A score. So I'm actually going to change this to Team B score. Okay, this is looking pretty good. It's a little hard to see. I'll zoom in. But it says Team B here. And I got all the correct buttons and all the correct text views. So I'm going to try to run this on my phone. Okay, and this looks pretty good. Now if I press the Team A buttons, it's updating, so that's great. If I press the Team B buttons, well, it's also updating. That's special. But remember, we just wanted to get the XML right. We didn't really care about the Java. But now that we got the XML working, why not fix the Java?